Hello everyone! Welcome po ulit sa ating MathIsip YouTube channel where you can find free Tagalog mathematics tutorial. I am your teacher Van and today our topic is all about box and whisker plots and cumulative frequency histograms and polygons. But before we begin, let me just remind everyone kapag hindi pa po tayo nakakapag-subscribe, you can click the subscribe button. And if you want to do me a favor, wag po sana nating skip ang mga ads. And for our fellow teachers, if you are interested with this presentation, you can message us on our Facebook page. Okay, so without further ado, let's now begin with our lesson. Ito po ang learning competency for this lesson. So it is divided into two parts. Unang part po ng lesson natin is how to construct box and whisker plots. And then the second part is all about cumulative frequency histograms and polygons. Okay, so let's start. Okay, let's imagine this scenario. A grade 10 student wants to find the most reliable route going to school. For 14 consecutive mornings, he checks a navigation app at the same departure time and records the estimated travel time for two possible routes. So ito po yung two possible routes. We have here the minutes it takes for route A for those consecutive days. And then ito naman po yung route B for those 14 consecutive days. Ibig sabihin parang 2 weeks. Okay, trinak niya kung ilang minuto using those routes. If you are traveling going to school and there are different routes that you can choose from, have you experienced recording the minutes? Kung ilang minuto ba ang nagagamit nyo if you are taking that particular route. Okay, so this is this kind of scenario. Now, masasagot natin ito using a box whisker plots of estimated time travels. Ganito po yung itsura ng box and whisker plots. Ano po ba ang ibig sabihin nito? What can these graphs tell us? Okay, so meron pong mga questions dito na masasagot using this graph. Okay, we have here the question, which route usually takes less time? Which route has more consistent travel times? Which route sometimes takes unusually long? If you had only 25 minutes before class starts, which route would you choose? So itong mga tanong na ito, masasagot natin ito mamaya. But first, let's learn kung paano ba gumawa ng ganitong graph. Okay? A list of numbers can tell us the story but a graph can often tell it much faster. So kung magre-rely lang tayo dun sa table na pinakita ko kanina, table of values of those minutes, medyo mas mahirap nating malaman or masagot itong mga questions. But if we rely on this kind of graph, mas madali po. Okay, so let's begin with this topic. Box and whisker plots. Ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ng mga ito? So this is the definition of box and whisker plots. Okay? It is a graph that summarizes a dataset using a minimum, first quartile, median, third quartile, and maximum. Ang ibang tawag po dito is yung tinatawag nating box plot. Okay? So ito po yung shortcut, box plot. Now, what are the different parts? Okay, first, ano po ba itong mga ito? Well, these are what we call the 5-number summary. Minimum, lower quartile, middle quartile, upper quartile, tsaka maximum. So, this is what we need para makagawa tayo ng box and whisker plot. So, some of this, you are already familiar kasi napag-aralan na natin in our previous lessons. Yung mga lower quartile, middle quartile, and the upper quartile. Yung minimum and maximum, basing from the term itself, maiintindihan naman na natin siya. So ito po yung itsura ng ating box and whisker plots. And ito po yung tinatawag nating box. Okay? Kasi it looks like a box, no? And then yung whisker naman po, ito yung mga nasa gilid, no? These are now the whisker. So anong ibig sabihin ng mga ito? Yung gitna ng box, ito po yung median. Sometimes hindi siya nasa as in gitna, pwedeng nasa gilid, no? Yan po yung median natin. Ito pong boundaries ng box natin, ito na po yung lower quartile and then ito naman po yung upper quartile or quartile 3, itong upper quartile, ito naman po is quartile 1. And then itong dulo ng mga whiskers, we call this the minimum. Okay, ito na po yung mga minimum and maximum natin. Okay, so a plot box allows us to quickly see the center and spread of a dataset and is especially useful for comparing datasets. Okay, so let's begin with the construction of box and whisker plot. Okay, let's have a simple example. Okay, imagine we have here basketball, no? So let's say Coach Reyes is a basketball coach. He wants to analyze the scoring performance of player A during his last 7 games. Construct a box and whisker plot of player A's scores. Ito po yung scores ni player A for those 7 games. Okay, now, the first step is to arrange the data from least to greatest. Okay, so ito po yung mga points natin. Ito po yung ating values or yung data. I-arrange lang natin siya in an ascending order. Okay, so we have here, pinakauna is 14, 18, 22, 26, 28, 32, and 36. Now, the second step is to identify itong 5-number summary natin. Ano ulit yung 5-number summary? Ito po yun. No? Other books, they call this 5-point summary. Okay, so we have here the minimum, the maximum, median, lower quartile, and upper quartile. So start tayo sa minimum. Siyempre, yung pinaka mababang points from his game. So it's 14. This is the minimum. Okay, sulat natin dyan. Next is the maximum. Siyempre, yung nandito sa dulo. The highest score from all his games. Okay, 36. Now, this time, we have here median. Okay, so napag-aralan naman natin previously, pag sinabi nating median, it's the middle of the data kapag naka-arrange siya. So, we have here median. Ang pwede nating gamiting method dito is ito. Okay, the simplest method that we can use. Okay, using our hand. Pwede naman nating gamitin ang ating kamay. Let's start from both ends using our hands para hindi tayo magkamali. Pwede nating gawin to. Pwede nating isa-isahin. Okay, hanggang makita natin, mahanap natin yung pinaka-gitna, which is 26. Ito na po yung ating median. Okay? Next, let's now have lower quartiles. Paano naman po yung lower quartiles? Pwede nating gamitin tong technique na ito. Ito yung tinatawag nating median of halves method. As compared with our previous lesson on quartiles, tinuro ko po doon yung formula tsaka yung interpolation. Pero kapag ganitong maliit lang yung data natin, we can now use median of halves. So, paano ba gamitin tong median of halves method? Since itong median po yung mag-identify nung gitna, so it is divided into 2 parts. So, ito, nakalahati na siya, we can get the median of this half. Okay, so ano ba ang gitna nung kalahati? We can start from 14 hanggang 23. Wag na po nating isama si 26. Bakit po? Kasi if you are going to count the number of values, there are 7. Okay, so kapag 7, add number siya. So yung median, yun yung gitna, wag po nating isasama if we are using this median of halves method. So we only have here 14, 18, and 22. Ano po ba ang gitna ng tatlong numbers na ito? It is 18. Ito na po yung ating lower quartile. Okay, that's Q1. Next, okay, since this is quartile 1, asan ba yung quartile 2 natin? Of course, ito pong median. Ito na po yung quartile 2 natin. Okay, next, quartile 3, our upper quartile. So, ito po yung tatlo dito sa kalahati, no? 28, 32, 36, hindi po natin isasama si 26 kasi add yung ating number of values. So, ano po ang gitna ng tatlong number? It's 32. This is now our quartile 3 or upper quartile. Okay? Tandaan lang natin, this alternative method is especially convenient for small data sets when working by hand. Sabi ko nga kanina, yung pinag-aralan natin in our previous lesson, applicable po yun lalo na kapag mas madami yung number of data. Okay? Pero pag ganito lang na 7 or 8 values, we can just make use of median of halves method. So sa median of halves method, kapag add yung size ng dataset natin, the overall median is excluded, hindi kasama yung nasa gitna. Pero mamaya makikita natin paano kapag even. Okay? Kasama kaya yung median doon sa pagkuha ng quartile 1 at saka quartile 3. Okay, let's go to that later on. But first, let's make our construction of box and whisker plot. Okay, construct the box and whisker plot. Paano po natin yan gagawin? Using this 5-number summary, gawa lang po tayo ng number line. Okay, so yung number line natin, paano po ba natin malalaman na mag-start siya sa 10 o kaya 40? Depende po doon sa minimum tsaka maximum. For me, kapag nakikita kong ganito yung kanilang data, kung ang minimum niya is 14, ang maximum niya is 36, pwede naman nating dagdagan ng konti, no? So yung 14, babaan pa natin, gawin na nating 10 para flat siya. And then yung 36, gawin na nating 40. Then we can do the scaling by 5. So 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Depende rin po sa teacher nyo yan. Okay, so kung 14 siya, dun sa gitna, no? Kung 36, dito rin sa gitna ng 35 and 40, somewhere in between. So let's plot. Una, i-plot natin tong minimum, which is 14. Okay, so dito siya, banda. Maglagay lang tayo ng point dito para palatandaan natin. Next, maximum is 36. So dito siya banda. Okay, hindi nga siya gitna, no? Basta dito siya in between 35 and 40. So maglagay tayo ng point doon sa taas. Palatandaan lang natin yan, marking. Next is yung median, which is 26. So it's somewhere here. Medyo malapit kay 25. Yan, 26. And then lower quartile is 18, meaning dito siya. Yan, 18. Maglagay ulit tayo ng point sa taas niyan. And then upper quartile is 32. So dito banda. And then maglagay din tayo ng point sa taas. So ilang points po yung nagawa natin? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They all represent our 5-number summary. Now, after plotting those points, pwede na natin gawin yung box and whisker. So, ano po yung box natin dyan? We can start from the lower quartile, itong 18, up to the upper quartile. Ganito po yung gagawin nating box. Okay, it's enclosing the lower and upper quartile. Kasama na din po yung median sa gitna. Okay? Now, gawa tayo ng linya to divide the box from the median. Okay? So, gamit yung median, hatiin natin yung box natin into 2 parts. Okay? Depende po yan. Pwedeng mas malaki yung part dito sa left side. Pwedeng mas malaki dito sa right side. It's depending on our 5-number summary. Next, dito po, pwede na nating i-connect yung mga whiskers natin. Ito na po yung tinatawag na whiskers. So, connecting it from the minimum going to the lower quartile. Tapos dito naman, connecting from the maximum going to the upper quartile. Okay? And then, pwede nating lagyan yan dagdagan natin yan ng line. Okay? Parang ganyan. Okay? To indicate that these are the 2 minimum and the maximum. Okay? The endpoints. Okay, now, pwede na nating tanggalin yung markings. Or pwede rin yun namang i-retain yung mga points nyo. It's up to you. Okay, yan na po yung ating box and whisker plot for example number 1. Now, asan yung minimum? Nasa 14. Ang maximum, 36. Okay, ang quartile 1, 18. Quartile 2, 32. Ang median natin is 26. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Okay, just like in quartiles, we can say that these are the 25% of our data. So, from minimum to quartile 1, nandyan yung 25%. From quartile 1 to median, nandyan din yung 25%. Median to quartile 2, 25%. And then quartile 2 to maximum, nandyan din yung 25% ng data natin. Okay, so anong ibig sabihin nito? We can interpret this as player A's typical scoring level is around 26 points. Okay, kung ano yung median dyan, yan yung typical na scores niya. So, 26, around 26. Another interpretation is his scores vary from 14 to 36 points. So, from 14 to 36, yan po yung ranges ng kaya niyang points sa isang laro. Okay? Those are what we call the interpretations for this box and whisker plot. Okay, para po mas maintindihan nyo pa, let's have another example. Okay, let's have, ito yung dugtong po ng ating kwento. We have here Coach Reyes considering another player, player B naman po, no? The following are player B's points during his previous 8 games. Okay, so kung kanina si player A, ilan po yung games niya? 7. Ngayon naman po si player B ay 8 games. Okay, tignan natin. So let's construct a box and whisker plot for this. So una, arrange natin yung data from least to greatest. Okay, so ito, naka-arrange na po yan. 20 yung pinakamababa, 36 yung pinakamataas. Now, let's complete our 5-number summary. So minimum, of course, is 20. Maximum is 36. Then the median, pwede ulit natin gamitin by hand. You can use your hands to pinpoint saan ba ang gitna. So, pwede nating isa-isahin yan hanggang mapunta tayo sa pinakagitna. Now, take a look at this. Dalawa yung gitna natin. Siyempre kasi there are 8 numbers. Wala pong gitna. So, anong gagawin natin? We can just get the median by adding this and then dividing it by 2. Okay, yun na po yung averaging na tinatawag natin. So, i-average natin, 23 plus 24 divided by 2, you will get 23.5. Yun na po yung ating median. Okay, so, next, let's have lower quartile and then upper quartile. So, ngayon, since 8 po yung ating number of values, yun po ay even number. So yung sinabi ko po kanina, kapag even number, hahatiin lang natin itong data set into 2 parts. Okay, so ano po yung unang hati? We have here 20 to 23. So dito na natin makukuha yung lower quartile. So since dalawa din yung gitna niyan, we can just get the average to get the quartile 1. So ito po ang quartile 1. You just add 21 plus 22 divided by 2. You will get 21.5. Okay, next we also have here 24, 25, 30, and then 36. Ano po ang gitna ng apat na numbers? It's 25 and 30. You can just get the average to get quartile 3. So 25 plus 30 divided by 2, you will get 27.5. Okay, so ganun lang po kapag even number of data. Okay, now let's proceed to the construction of box and whisker plot. Okay, so again, unahin natin yung number line. Katulad din kanina, ano ba yung minimum natin dito? It's 20. And then yung maximum natin is 36. Okay, since we want to relate yung player A tsaka player B, pwede naman natin gamitin yung number line kanina. Okay, so kapag separate story or separate problem ito, gagawa tayo ng bagong number line. Pero since they are connected, we will be using the same number line. Anyway, pasok pa rin naman po dito sa number line yung minimum at saka yung maximum natin. So let's plot first our minimum. We have here 20, no? Nandito. Next is maximum. Okay, since gitna yan ng 35 and 40, dito banda, 36, ilagay natin yung point dyan. Next, median. We have 23.5. So asan banda? Nandito po in between 20 and 25. So 23.5. Diyan po yung ating point. And then yung lower quartile, 21.5. Lagay natin. And then upper quartile, 27.5. Nandito po yan. So we have this point. So there are how many points? There should be 5 points. Okay? So mas maganda gumamit po tayo ng ruler, no, para mas ma-estimate natin more accurately. Now, after plotting those points, we can now connect. Ano po ulit yung i-connect natin dyan? Anong box? Ano po yung gagawin nating box? Alright, so from lower quartile up to upper quartile, yun po yung magiging box natin. So lower quartile is 21.5, upper quartile is 27.5. Okay, next, gawa tayo ng line dito po sa ating median. Okay, there you go. Yan na po yung gitna ng ating values. And then, pwede na nating i-connect yung box dito sa mga minimum and maximum. Yan na po yung mga whiskers natin, no? Gawa lang tayo ng line dyan sa dulo. Okay, there you go. Now we have constructed our box and whisker plot. Pwede na nating tanggalin yung mga markings natin, yung mga points. Okay, now let's interpret. Okay, first, pwede nating sabihin na the typical scoring performance for player B is around 23 to 24. Bakit? Andito po yung median. It's 23.5, so we can say around 23 to 24 points per game. Next, aside from that, we can say player B's distribution is skewed to the right because the values are more spread out toward the higher end. Pag sinabi nating skewed, okay, ito po yung ibig sabihin nun. Okay? So medyo mahaba yung whisker natin dito sa right side kasi nakascore siya ng 36 sa isang game. I think that's in game 2, no? 36. So medyo masyadong skewed ang tawag natin dyan, no? Wala siya masyado dito sa center, sa gitna. Okay? More on extreme, no? Values. Okay? Hindi naman masyadong extreme na pwede na nating tawaging outlier. Yung mga outlier nandito lang dyan sa gilid, no? Pero dito sa ating values, wala namang pong outlier dyan. So, Ang tawag lang natin dyan is skewed. Okay, so let's answer these questions based on our graph. Okay, so who generally scores more points? Sino ba ang mas mataas ang scores? So, saan natin makikita dito sa ating box and whisker plots? Makikita po natin yan dito po sa kanilang median. Okay, so if you see, here for player A, it's 26 ang median niya. Ibig sabihin, yun yung scores niya, mostly. Next, si player B naman, mas mababa. Andito lang siya sa around 23.5. So, mas mababa yung scores niya. So, ang sagot dito is player A generally scores more points. Alright? Next question, who is more consistent? Okay? Saan po natin malalaman yan? Dun po sa ating box. Okay? So, ano ang sagot dito? Player B is more consistent. Sir, bakit mas maliit yung box niya? Bakit siya yung consistent? Okay. So, kung mas maliit po yung ating box, ibig sabihin, yung scores niya is within this values only. Ibig sabihin, mas concentrated siya dito sa part na ito. As compared kay player A, yung box niya is mas mahaba, mas madaming values ang nandito. So, ito na yung tinatawag nilang spread. Okay? Mas malaki yung spread ng values ni player A. So, ibig sabihin, hindi masyadong consistent. Okay? Next, so which player should the coach choose? Ito na yung pinaka-importanting tanong. As a coach, sino ba ang pipiliin mo sa kanila? Okay? Actually, it depends on what the coach values. Halimbawa, if the coach wants the player who typically scores more, syempre, pipili niya si player A kung ang basihan niya is kung sino ang mas mataas yung scores. Next, if the coach wants more consistent scorer, the coach will choose player B kung yun naman ang mas mahalaga sa coach. So, it really depends kung ano yung mas pipiliin ng coach. But, at least, from this box and whisker plot, pwede na nating i-interpret yung performance or i-differentiate yung performance ng dalawang player. Okay? So that's what box and whisker plots are used for. Okay, so going back to our introduction po kanina about the student comparing the two routes, pwede nyo po itong gamitin as your exercise if you want to practice. Okay, so you can construct a box and whisker plot for route A and route B. And then, mamaya, you can answer these questions. Which route seems more reliable? You can answer these 4 questions. Okay, I'll give you time to do this. And if you want to do this with your teacher, pwede naman po kayong i-guide using this PowerPoint presentation. So, kung ikaw po ay isang teacher, you can avail of our PowerPoint presentation. Just message us on our Facebook page. Okay, so sa mga students, God bless po sa inyong pagsagot. Okay, now, I will now reveal the answer for this exercise. Tignan natin kung tama po yung process na ginawa ninyo. Alright, so let's have the answer for route A po muna. So, in route A, this is our minimum. Our maximum is 29. Our median is the average of these two numbers, which is the same. 21 pa rin naman po yan. Lower quartile is 20 and upper quartile is 23. Ganito po yung dapat yung itsura ng box and whisker plot ninyo. Okay? When it comes to the number line, depende po sa inyo yan. As long as naiintindihan po yung box and whisker plot nyo na nakatapat naman po sa tamang mga numbers. Okay, now for route B, ganito po ang itsura. Mas maliit po yung ating box dito. Okay, the minimum is 22, the maximum is 26, the median is 23.5 by averaging these two. Lower quartile is 23, upper quartile is 25. So, route A and then route B. Now, for the interpretation, pwedeng ang sagot nyo is ganito. No? So, for which route usually takes less time? Route A. Kasi nasa median, mas kakaunti yung median niya, which is 21. Which route has more consistent travel times? It's route B. Okay? The more na mas maliit yung box niya, the more consistent the datas are. Okay, next, which route sometimes takes usually long? Okay, route A kasi yung maximum niya umabot na hanggang 29. Okay? So, 29 minutes, ganun katagal yung isang biyahe. If you had only 25 minutes before class starts, which route would you choose? Ito na po yung final na question. Ano po ang mas prefer natin? Route A or Route B? Especially if we only have 25 minutes. The answer here is Route B. Bakit? Route B would be the safer choice if the student has only 25 minutes before class. Kasi, as you can see, yung average niya or yung median niya is andito lang po around 23 something, no? And then, pwede rin naman na ang maximum niya is umabot ng 26, pero hindi katulad sa Route A na pwedeng umabot hanggang 29. So, the best choice is Route B pa rin. Okay? So, there you go. I hope nasagot nyo po ng tama. And this time, we will now proceed to the second part of our lesson. Okay, so recap lang po. In the first part, we learned about box and whisker plots. It helps us summarize and compare data. But what if we want to know how many observations fall at or below a certain value? Paano naman po natin yan makikita visually? Dito na po papasok yung topic natin about cumulative frequency histogram and polygon. Okay, first, let us differentiate frequency versus cumulative frequency. Kasi ito po, I believe, ito yung magiging confusion natin dyan, ano? Especially for our teachers. Kasi po, ang nasa ating competency is cumulative frequency. Yan. So, i-differentiate natin. I will give here an example. So, a very realistic example is the mathematics test scores. Okay? So, we have here the test scores group into class intervals. Okay, and then we have the frequency and then the cumulative frequency. Ano po ang napapansin natin? Ano pong pinagkaiba ng frequency and then cumulative frequency? Okay, so grade 10, ibig sabihin nito, itong frequency is the number of students na nakakuha ng scores from 50 to 59. Okay? Ano po ang definition ng frequency? It tells how many observations belong to a particular class or interval. Alright, so ilan ang student na nakakuha ng test scores from 50 to 59 points? 2 students. Ilang students ang nakakuha ng points from 60 to 69? 5. And so on and so forth. Iyan po yung frequency. Now, how about cumulative frequency? Okay, ito po yung definition. Cumulative frequency, from the word cumulative, no? Cumulative frequency is the running total of the frequencies up to a particular class. Okay? So, kanina, 2 yung nakakuha ng scores from 50 to 59. Now, yung nakakuha ng 60 to 69 dito sa frequency is 5, pero sa cumulative frequency is 7. No? Bakit? Paano nakuha yung 7? Okay, good. Kasi dinagdag na natin yung nakakuha ng 50 to 59. So, you just add 2 and 5 to get 7. Ganon din po dito sa 15. Okay, bakit? You just need to add, kung ilan nang nakakuha sa 70 to 79, there are 8. Idagdag lang natin sa previous na students kanina na 7. So, magiging 15. Okay, ito namang 24 is you just add 9 and 15, kaya naging 24. And then dito naman is 30, you just need to add 6 and 24, it is now 30. Alright? So, ang key dito is dapat yung pinakadulo, okay, itong 30, dapat ito yung total of students, okay, na nag-take ng test. Alright? So, parang tinotal lang natin siya. That is what we call the cumulative frequency. Okay, now let's proceed to frequency histogram naman. Ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ng frequency histogram? Alright, so kung hindi nyo pa po napag-aralan ng histogram or kung wala kayong background, ang histogram po, ang ibig sabihin yan is it's just a type of bar graph, no? Para siyang bar graph that visually represents the distribution of a quantitative continuous data set. Okay, so ito po yung itsura ng ating frequency histogram. So, ang focus natin is just the frequency. Okay? Wala po muna yung cumulative frequency dyan. So, as you can see, we have here the class intervals, 50 to 59, 60 to 69 from this, no, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, 90 to 99. And then yung frequency natin, andito rin, 2, 5, no, 8, 9, 6, straight from our table. So, para lang tayong gumagawa ng bar graph. Pero ano pong pinagkaiba ng bar graph sa histogram? Ang bar graph po kasi merong pong space yan in between the bars. While a histogram is continuous. Okay? Tuloy-tuloy po ang histogram. Magkakadikit po yung kanilang bars. Okay? So, quantitative distribution. Alright, now let's proceed to cumulative frequency histogram naman po. Which is ito po talaga yung focus ng lesson natin. Cumulative frequency histogram, ang ibig sabihin naman po niyan is it's a histogram in which the height of each bar represents the accumulated frequency up to that class. Okay, so ibig sabihin, magbe-base na po tayo dito sa cumulative frequency. Hindi po itong frequency ang gagamitin natin. So from the class interval, same pa rin po yan, pero mag-start na po tayo dito. So we have 2, 7, 15, 24, 30. So if you notice, pataas po yung ating bars. Kasi nga, dinadagdag natin yung number of students na nakakuha na ng lower score. So as you can see, ang nakakuha ng 50 to 59 is 2. Ang nakakuha ng 60 to 69 and below is 7. 70 to 79 and below is 15. 80 to 89 and below is 24, 90 to 99 and below is 30 kasi yan na lahat yung students. Alright? Okay, so kung i-compare natin side by side, ito po yung difference nila. Huwag po natin kakalimutan, pag frequency histogram lang, ganito po yung itsura ng graph. And then kapag cumulative frequency histogram naman, ganito po ang itsura ng graph. Okay, next, paano naman po ang frequency polygon? Alright, using the same example pa rin para hindi na tayo lumayo, no? So ano pong ibig sabihin ng frequency polygon? A frequency polygon is a line graph. Okay, kung kanina bar graph, ngayon naman po line graph siya. Pero anong klaseng line graph? A line graph used to display the frequency distribution of group data by plotting class midpoints or yung tinatawag nating class marks against frequencies and connecting the points with straight lines. So as you can see, may mga points tayo dyan and it is connected using straight lines. So parang gumagawa tayo ng shape, no? Kaya nga po tinawag yan na polygon because this looks like a polygon, no? Wala namang curved lines dyan and it's not open, it's closed. Yan. So how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So parang isa itong heptagon, no? Kaya tinawag na frequency polygon. Alright, now, take a look. Anong ginamit natin? Is it the frequency or the cumulative frequency? Kung ang hinahanap natin or ginagawa natin is frequency polygon, i-base lang po natin sa frequency. So as you can see, we have here 2, we have 5, we have 8, 9, 6. Okay? So pwedeng akyat baba yung ating points dyan, no? Pero kapag ang ginagawa na natin ngayon is cumulative frequency, makikita nyo po mamaya, no? Pero balikan ko lang po itong class marks. Paano ba natin nakukuha itong class mark? Ano po ba itong class mark na ito? So as you can see, we have here midpoints. Dito sa class interval, nakita nyo from 50 to 59, dun sa gitna tayo nagplot. Okay? Kasi ang class mark, it's just upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2. Ano po itong upper limit tsaka lower limit na ito? Alright. Pag sinabi nating upper limit, ito pong 59. Yan po ang example ng upper limit. Ano naman po ang lower limit niya? It's 50. Okay? So dito naman po ang upper limit is 69, lower limit is 60. Ganon din po dito, 79 ang upper, lower 70, and so on. So pag pinag-add natin tong dalawa, 50 plus 59, i-divide natin ng 2, yun na po yung ating class marks. So let's try to do that. So 50 plus 59 divided by 2, ang makukuha nyo is 54.5. Yan po yung class mark. Diyan po natin siya ipaplat sa gitna. Okay, so 54.5. Ito naman po ay 64.5. 74.5, 84.5, 94.5. So yun po yung tinatawag nating class marks. Okay? So again, this is just for the standard frequency polygon. Now, ito po talaga yung gagawin natin ngayon. So gagawa po tayo ng cumulative frequency polygon. Just like the cumulative frequency histogram, ito naman po naka-base tayo sa cumulative frequency. So cumulative frequency polygon is a line graph that shows how frequencies accumulate as the values increase. So katulad kanina sa cumulative frequency histogram, pataas po yung ating graph. Okay? So magbe-base na po tayo dito sa cumulative frequency. And by the way, ito rin po pala yung tinatawag nating ogive. So it is commonly called an ogive. Yun po yung term natin kapag cumulative frequency polygon. Kapag hindi po siya cumulative, frequency polygon lang siya, hindi natin pwedeng sabihing ogive, no? Okay, so before we move on, baka may nagtataka sa inyo, sir, bakit may mga 49.5, 59.5 and so on? Okay, malalaman po natin kung ano ang mga ito mamaya kapag nag-construct na tayo ng frequency or cumulative frequency polygon. Okay, so again, wag po natin kakalimutan ang difference ng frequency polygon versus cumulative frequency polygon or yung tinatawag nating ogive. So sa frequency polygon, talagang magmumukha siyang polygon. Pero pag dito naman sa ogive, as you can see, wala na po yung line that connects it to the x-axis. So pataas lang po siya. Okay, that is the difference. Alright, this time let's now proceed to the construction of cumulative frequency histogram and polygon. So again, cumulative lang po muna ang focus natin for this lesson. Okay, let's have this example. Example number 2. The school canteen recorded the waiting times of 30 students during lunch. The data are summarized in frequency distribution on the left. Okay, construct a cumulative frequency histogram and a cumulative frequency polygon. So dalawa po ang gagawin natin, then interpret the graph. Okay, so again, nandito po yung data. Ito po yung waiting time ng mga students. So kapag 1 to 5 minutes na waiting time, meron tayong 3 students na recorded dyan. And then 6 to 10 minutes, it's 5. 11 to 15, there are 8 students. 16 to 20 minutes, there are 7 students. And then 21 to 25 minutes, 5 students. Itong 26 to 30 minutes masyado naman na pong mahabang waiting time ito. So dalawa lang na students yung naka-experience nito. Okay, so let's have the first step. Una is yung tinatawag nating class boundaries. Ito po ay mahalaga because the waiting times are recorded in whole number. Ito po yung whole numbers natin. Pag gumagawa po tayo ng class boundaries, ang gagawin lang natin is mag-subtract tayo ng 0.5 from each lower class limit and add 0.5 to each upper class limit. So saan po ulit yung ating lower class limit? Ito pong 1, 6, 11, 16, 21, 26. Ano naman po yung upper class limit? Ito po yung 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Now mag-add lang po tayo ng 0.5 dito po sa ating upper class limit tapos mag-subtract dito sa lower class limit. So ang itsura po niyan is ganito. Ito na po yung ating class boundary. So, bakit po naging 0.5 to 5.5? 1 minus 0.5 magiging 0.5. Ito namang 5 plus 0.5 magiging 5.5. Ganon din po dito. 6 minus 0.5, it's 5.5. 10 plus 0.5 magiging 10.5. Ganon din dito. So, minus 0.5 plus 0.5. Minus 0.5 plus 0.5 and so on and so forth. Nabuo na po natin yung class boundary. So again, class boundaries remove the gaps between consecutive class interval and make the intervals continuous. Kasi nga, remember, ang histogram dapat tuloy-tuloy, walang gap in between the bars. That's why we need class boundaries. Okay, next step, we need our class frequency. Okay, the cumulative frequency. Alright, so paano ulit pagkuha ng cumulative frequency? From our frequency, 3. And then, dito sa second class or interval, idagdag lang natin yung 5. So, 3 plus 5, magiging 8. Okay, now, ang susunod is 8 plus 8, kaya naging 16. Now, 16 plus 7, kaya naging 23. 23 plus 5, kaya naging 28. 28 plus 2, kaya naging 30. So, dinadagdag lang natin yung mga lower frequencies. Alright. Now, final cumulative frequency should equal the total number of observations. So if there are 30 students, dapat 30 din yung makukompute mo dito sa pinakababa, sa dulo. Okay, next step, pwede na natin tong i-graph. Ito yung mga kailangan natin, frequency, class boundary, tsaka cumulative frequency. Okay, so how to do that? We just need two lines here. We have the x-axis and then the y-axis. I-label natin. Yung x-axis is yung waiting time in minutes. Yung y-axis naman is yung cumulative frequency of students. Maglagay na tayo ng scales. Okay, there you go. So from 0.5, yung class boundary natin, ito yung unang scale natin dyan. Up to 5.5. Okay, dito. First class boundary. Next, 5.5 to 10.5. 10.5 to 15.5 and so on hanggang makuha natin yung dulo, which is class boundary, it's 30.5. Next, dito naman sa y-axis, pwede natin siyang gawin as by 5, yung scale natin. 5, 10, 15, 20 hanggang 30. Okay, mag-leave lang tayo ng konting space dyan sa taas. Okay, headroom. Okay, now let's proceed to the graph. Okay, mas maganda kapag gumagamit tayo ng graphing paper. Okay, so in this PowerPoint, naglagay ako dito ng grids para mas madaling makita. Okay, so we have the first class boundary, which is, ang frequency niya is 3. Or yung cumulative frequency niya is also 3, no? So, tapat lang natin yan sa 3. Next, using the same class boundary, dito natin ididikit yung second na bar. Okay, so since it is 8, tapat natin sa 8. Ito yung susunod. Anong susunod? 16. Okay, tapat lang natin sa 16. 23, 28, and 30. So, if you notice, dapat magkakadikit yung ating mga bars. And pataas po siya. Walang pababa. Since we are dealing with cumulative frequency. Question, Sir, bakit may space po dito before yung 0.5? Alright, magandang tanong yan. Bakit nga ba may space? Okay, take note. Yung ating data, nag-start siya sa 0.5. Okay, yung class boundary natin nag-start sa 0.5. Hindi naman po siya nag-start sa 0. Okay, so ibig sabihin may space dyan na 0.5. So usually nilalagyan natin talaga yan ng space kapag ang ating data hindi nag-i-start sa 0. Okay, just to add, minsan naman kapag masyado nang malayo yung unang data, halimbawa yung unang interval dito is mag-start sa 20 o kaya mas malayo pa, let's say 50, no? So instead of putting an open space dito sa unahan, minsan mas maganda, mas effective pag nilalagyan natin ng zigzag line yan or yung tinatawag nating kink. Okay? So I repeat, ang tawag po doon ay kink or yung zigzag line to indicate that there is no data in between. Okay, so proceed na po tayo sa constructing cumulative frequency polygon naman po ngayon, no? So since meron na po tayong given for the histogram kanina, pwede natin tong gamitin para makabuo ng cumulative frequency polygon. So palitan lang po natin yung ating label. Let's now call this cumulative frequency histogram kasi meron ng histogram and polygon of school canteen waiting time. So paano po itong polygon? So we can just put some points dito. Mag-plot lang tayo ng points dito sa may taas po ng ating bar. Dun po sa right side. Tapat po ng ating class boundary. Okay? Yung ating lower class boundary or yung upper class boundary kasi yun din po naman yung intersection ng dalawang bars, no? So maglagay lang tayo ng mga points dyan sa gilid, no? Okay, hanggang makumpleto hanggang dito po sa dulo sa upper class boundary po ng last na class interval. Alright. Now, we can now connect this using straight lines. Pwede naman na po natin siyang i-connect hanggang sa makumpleto hanggang maabot po yung pinaka-top portion po ng ating bars. Alright, there you go. Ito na po yung ating ogive or yung tinatawag nating cumulative frequency polygon. Alright. Sir, bakit hindi sa gitna? Okay, kasi nga po, hindi katulad sa standard na frequency polygon na ang kailangan natin is class mark. Ito po ay cumulative frequency polygon, kaya dito po dapat sa gilid. Alright? Ibig sabihin po niyan, yung mga values or frequency is below these points. Okay? Below those points. O yun na po yung highest points doon po sa ating class interval. Okay, now that we have both the cumulative frequency histogram and polygon, we can now interpret. Okay, ito po yung mga pwedeng questions na pwede nating sagutin. So the first question is, how many students waited 15 minutes or less? We can say that there are 16 students. Okay, next, how many students waited 20 minutes or less? There are 23 students. How many students waited more than 20 minutes? We have 7 students. Okay, so there you go. That's how we interpret our histogram and the polygon. As a summary, box and whisker plots summarize the center and spread of a data set using the 5-number summary, while cumulative frequency histograms and polygons show how data values accumulate across intervals and help determine how many observations fall at or below a given value. Okay, so kung gusto nyo po ng practice, you can actually use this activity, no, para gumawa ng box and whisker plot, and at the same time, cumulative frequency histogram and polygon. Then you can check this with your teachers, especially if your teachers are using our PowerPoint presentations. Okay, but for now, thank you very much for listening. I hope madami po kayong natutunan sa ating lesson. And I hope to see you again on our next one. Bye-bye and God bless po sa ating lahat. Kung meron kang natutunan sa video na ito, please click the subscribe button to support this channel para mas matulungan ulit kita sa mga susunod mo pang math lessons. Lagi mong tatandaan, ang math ay para sa lahat. At ako si Teacher Van, nagsasabing dito sa Math Isip, lamang ang nag-iisip. God bless and see you on the next video. Bye-bye.